Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'll try to call it. We'll call our Agriculture and Consumer Affairs to order. I appreciate everyone being here. This is a busy time of year for all of us. Trying to find rooms and times to hear bills is kind of tricky this time of year, so I appreciate each of y'all's patience and ability to be here. I know traffic was bad. Representative Scoggins and I was here, left here about 12 hours ago. We had an EUT meeting that lasted till after 7:30 last night, and a very important bill we heard. Y'all might ask Georgia Power a little bit about it. No, Chairman Camp was there. Who else was there? Yeah, Meeks. So we're very dedicated. So let's go to Lord in prayer. I open this meeting up. Let's pray. Our Father, we just thank you for this time this week. We just give us patience, give us wisdom, and just be with us as we pass bills and to make this state better, and just give us the ability to do what's best, not only for this state, but in your eyes. Just lead and guide us this morning as we hear these bills. In Christ's name I pray. Amen. So today is a very special day for a couple reasons. It's the 150th birthday of our Department of Agriculture, and Commissioner Harper, thank you for being here. You want to say anything, or Dominic? I know you got to invite this committee over to the Capitol today at 2 o'clock. Come right up there. Everybody wants to see you this morning.
Well, good morning, Mr. Chairman. You are right. Today is a big day. February 28th, 1874. Exactly 150 years ago today, the Georgia Department of Agriculture was established. So today, we're celebrating that all day today. We're going to have some displays in the rotunda at the Capitol 2 o'clock this afternoon. We hope you'll come join us. We're going to have a program and a presentation with the governor, the speaker, the lieutenant governor. And so we're looking forward to a fun, exciting day celebrating 150 years of the department, 150 years of Georgia agriculture. In addition to that, in 201 at the Department of Ag, where we typically have a rural caucus, I know y'all are having rural caucus today down at the depot, but starting this morning and they'll be there all day. Many of you that come to the Georgia National Fair saw our Seed to Shirt display, where we were for the first time ever really showing people how cotton grows, and taking it from technically from the seed actually there all the way to a shirt you could buy at the back of the room. Well, we have a mini version of this morning set up in room 201, and we have shirts. Magnolia Loom is there, and they're selling our 150th anniversary T-shirt with our seal and our logo. All of you should have gotten one of these seals that I have on delivered to you with the invitation. But anyway, we look forward to celebrating today. Mr. Chairman, we hope you'll stop by 201 in the Ag Building and check out the display. And if you're interested, buy you a T-shirt. But thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's a big day for Georgia Department, the department, and a big day for Georgia agriculture.
Great, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I will be there. All right, we've got a couple bills on the agenda today, and I'm going to call HB 1322, Representative Cannon. But before that, today's another special day in my family. Today's my daughter's Margie's birthday today. So I wanted to wish her a birthday. Sometimes she watches this, I don't know. But she's got a very beautiful 1.5-year-old, my granddaughter, and so I'm sure she's busy seeing about her this morning. So, Representative Cannon, thank you for this very important bill. And We heard some testimony a couple of days ago. We were a little rushed, and I had some questions about some things. I appreciate the committee patience and others coming back being here. So we'll give it another good try this morning.
Thank you, Mr.
Mike's
Chairman.
yours.
Thank you, and glad to be joined by the commissioner this morning. We did have a robust debate at our meeting on Monday, a lot of back and forth, and we had some good points on both sides. And I think a critical component of this discussion is this three-part bill process. Representative Corbett has a bill, and then Rep. Perkle's got one, which is on the floor yesterday. I think y'all heard Rep. Hutchinson's comments after Rep. Perkle talked about it. And she specifically addressed this issue in her comments yesterday. And, a thing that she pointed out was that we needed this bill yesterday, is what she said. And that bill passed 165 to 1. Of course, I think Charlize voted against it, but that's typically every bill. So anyway, just to highlight and open up with that little story there, but I'll quickly summarize the bill, and then I'll turn it over to the commissioner for some additional comments, and go from there. But there's three parts that address hemp, three different bills. This is 1322 LC 550240. Just a reminder of four primary components to the bill. Primary component one is packaging restrictions. Exposure to light, mitigate exposure to high temperatures, not attractive to children, not a lookalike product, tamper evident, child resistant. Component two, advertising restrictions, specifically targets and prohibits advertising that is attractive to children. And also any advertising on packaging that misrepresents itself as low THC oil. Component three is retail store restrictions. It includes the prohibition of selling or distributing consumable hemp products if the store is located less than 1,000 feet from a school. It would also prohibit stores from advertising themselves as a dispensary or seller of low THC oil. And this is not, it's not retroactive. I think it would take effect, as I think in the bill, is July 1st, 2024 for stores. And I think there's some leeway in there for even more than that. And then the fourth component is that it conforms to Title VII of the U.S. Code, which sets the legal limit for THC at 0.3%. I'll note we did receive some comments yesterday from some of the folks that talked against the bill Monday, and we are going to review those comments, and if we find something that makes sense, we'll incorporate it. That's kind of our posture right now, but we did receive the comments. I've talked to Rep. Carter about them this morning, and that's kind of it. And I would like to defer to the commissioner for some additional comments from his side as well. I appreciate him doing this. This has been a well thought out process, and I'll defer to the commissioner, Mr. Chairman.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, members of the committee, I want to first thank Representative Cannon as well as Corbett and Perkle for their work with us and their work with the department. I think many of you know that I'm no stranger to this conversation. Representative Corbett and I started the hemp conversation, I guess, now 6 or 7 years ago. Representative Corbett and I, when I was in the state Senate, teamed up and worked together to create the hemp industry in the state of Georgia. And so to say that I've been involved in this since the beginning is an understatement. I will say that as the commissioner now, I want to ensure that we have a viable, successful hemp industry in the state of Georgia. I will tell you, though, right now, it is very difficult for Georgia farmers, especially hemp growers and processors, to be successful in the state of Georgia. Because we have, because of the loopholes in our law and the things that unfortunately were unforeseen at the time whenever we initially passed the original hemp laws in our state, have unfortunately suppressed our ability to have a successful hemp industry in this state, and made it very difficult. And so the package of bills, the three bills, two of which y'all have already passed, go all work in conjunction together to help us ensure that we have a viable, robust hemp industry in the state of Georgia that protects the consumer in our state, that protects children in our state, and ensures that we're able to move the ball in the right direction. And I believe these three bills do that. The bill specifically that's before you this morning, and I want to clarify, everything that we're working on and that we have proposed and that has been before this committee and he's in before this committee this morning is nothing that hasn't happened or hasn't been implemented in other states. Florida, Kentucky, Tennessee, Virginia are good examples of where we have seen these same proposals implemented in their state because they saw the same issues that we're seeing in our state now. And I believe it's important that we address those issues to allow the industry to thrive, to allow it to be successful, and allow our state to continue to be the leader. And this to be a viable component of the agricultural sector and be a commodity that growers can participate in. The bill you have in front of you this morning specifically addresses those issues, and Representative Cannon has laid it out, especially when it's focusing on our kids. And I can tell you in the operations and the issues we've been involved in as an agency, because hemp does fall under us, it's our jurisdiction. We have seen this. A couple of weeks ago, we saw right here in Atlanta, we had 2 young kids admitted to the ER because of a possible overdose. And I think Representative Hutchison yesterday on the floor of the House done a phenomenal job of laying out the issues we're seeing as an agency and the issues we're working to try to address as an agency. And I appreciate her comments because it really leads into what we're trying to work to do. And with your help, we can do that. So I'm not going to go into the specifics. Representative Cannon has already done that. But I believe this has been a well thought out process. I want to thank my staff, Catherine Russell and Patrick Guthrie on our policy team, who've put a lot of work into this. I appreciate the work with all of you. I've already said this, but Representative Corbett's, Perkle, and Cannon and their work with us to help us get it to this point. And Mr. Chairman, to you and the committee, and your willingness to work with us to have a thriving industry in our state. At the end of the day, we want Georgia farmers, Georgia producers, Georgia manufacturers, Georgia retailers. We want them to be successful, and we can do that. We've just got to have the right policies in place to allow that to happen. We're committed to making that happen at the department. And so with that, Mr. Chairman, I'd be happy to answer any questions. But I appreciate your willingness to work with us to help us address this and help us to have a thriving hemp industry in the state of Georgia.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you being here this morning and those comments. Very well said. It is a very important bill, and it's very important to our consumers and children and youth in this state. So thank you for those comments. Representative Cannon, have you got any more comments you want to make?
No, I'll just know I'm just texting with Catherine here, and some of the amendments we got won't work because they're superseded by federal law, and some will have to be written by a lawyer that we can work with. But I'm just saying we can work with some of the comments we received.
Okay. I don't see any comments or questions from our committee. I do now. Who's 29 down there? Representative Corbett. Chairman Corbett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and happy birthday to Margie. But I just want to take a moment to thank the commissioner. I've enjoyed working with him through this process, probably, like you said, since 2018. It's been a work in progress. We've spent more time in meetings with lawyers that we should have our degree. When you get a group of 6 different lawyers representing 6 different agencies, it is very challenging to get the commas in the right spot. But it's been a pleasure working with him, and I think the measures before us helps get us to a place that we can get our arms around this issue that we're having, and I appreciate Representative Cannon bringing this bill. And one more thing, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to just invite everybody to the rural caucus down at the Blue Room, the depot at 12.
I will be there, thank you. We've got a couple other questions, and we've got several in the audience that are going to speak to. We got a very special guest I see out there this morning. So, Representative Carter.
Morning. Oh, there it is. Thank you, Chairman. Representative, I guess I just wanted to be clear. I know that you said you received the comments. Are we going to discuss those? Because I'd like to put them to bed if we can.
I can't, I just got them late yesterday, so I can't talk about them with much education right now. But I mean, we can send them to the committee or, I don't.
I'm confused.
We got some comments from some groups yesterday that sent to us, and I'm not sure we can incorporate all of them, but if we can incorporate some, which I'm committed to working with them, if we can incorporate them, they would have to be written by a lawyer, because right now they're just kind of proposals.
Okay, so my request was not necessarily that it would be the will of the committee if we wanted to incorporate them, but I was hoping that we would at least. So here's some of the things they're thinking about or whatever. So we're talking about, so this is something that we heard the people. I understand what you're saying. If we needed to incorporate it, it'd be some legal stuff.
Right.
And we may not be able to do that today. But I think
That's
we
correct.
always want to make sure that the people know that we hear them.
Correct.
We're not ignoring them, right? Even if we can't do anything about it today. So that was kind of my request was, were we even going to even briefly discuss them?
We can. I mean,
Okay, here's our status. As all y'all know, crossover days tomorrow. This bill has got to get to rules, and on a supplemental calendar is what'll happen tomorrow sometime. So it's a tough. We got a process. Got to get over to the Senate. And Commissioner, you want to
If you don't mind, Representative Carter, I will say this on behalf of the department, and obviously we'll work with Representative Cannon. I know my staff has those comments. We're willing to work through that, through the process, and work with Representative Cannon and my team and see of those comments what is workable and what isn't. And we're willing to make sure I'll make sure our team keeps you in the loop on that, but we're willing to work through that through the process as the process moves forward. You have my commitment on that. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Commissioner. I
what
appreciate
he
it.
said.
Representative Thomas.
Thank you, Chairman. And Representative Carter pretty much said what I was going to say, but the packaging, Representative Cannon, can you just detail out the packaging and who that would actually affect? Because based on the bill and based on the owners of those CBD locations that came the other day, if you look at the bill, it looks like it's not going to affect them. Can you confirm that?
I'll let the commissioner speak to that.
Okay.
I think in regards to the packaging, Representative Thomas, obviously none of this would apply to anything that would be currently on the shelf, right? It would only apply to anything manufactured after the date of the effective date of the legislation, if it becomes law. So first and foremost, there is a grace period there that would allow. Secondly, it would only apply to specifically, especially to that packaging that where it would be especially considered attractive to children. So you couldn't put product in a Skittle bag to make it look like a Skittles bag or Funyun bag. We've seen that. We know it's being sold in the state of Georgia because our folks have taken that off the shelf and investigated those particular instances. I know there was some conversation around the material related to addressing light and mitigation of light. Mm-hmm. That's obviously something we can continue conversation on and have conversation about. But we do know, as I said a minute ago, this is definitely something that we can be open to on a ramp up. But at the same time, it would only apply after the effective date of the law moving forward. But that's definitely one of those things we can continue conversations on in regards to that particular packaging. I think that was the one, if I remember right, that was the one that was the particular comment was made
Lemonade.
about. And so we're willing to continue that conversation on what that looks like going forward.
Okay.
Just
Thank you, Chairman.
Bottom line, it affects anyone that's selling hemp products.
Representative Scoggins.
I know we got a couple more speakers, but at the proper time, I'm ready to move this.
Okay. All right, so let's now go. We've got 3 people signed up from the audience, and I want to call up someone who's been here before. Aviva, how about coming to the podium, Mike? Representative Corbett, would you want to do a proper introduction?
Or Squiggles? Which one?
There we go.
Who's comment? Okay.
Scribbles. Thank you, Chairman.
Well, welcome to the back to the Agriculture and Consumer Affairs Committee. Appreciate you coming down here today.
Thank you so much. Thank you, committee. Thank you, Chairman. And happy birthday, Margie! Your dad grows the best peaches. You're so lucky. Thank you for having us. For all who don't know me, my name is Aviva Vuvuzela. I founded the Georgia Hemp Economic Revival Organization over 10 years ago now to educate, because I think there's a lot of education that is needed. I started by just writing the song Cannabis Car. Don't you want a car that runs on cannabis? People are still confused if I'm talking about the Cheech and Chong car. But in honor of Black History Month, I just want to add that George Washington Carver, it wasn't about peanuts. He actually created hemp fuel and hemp paint and a bunch of hemp products, Keymergy. So with that said, is it not true that cannabis has been prohibited for about 100 years? And is it not true that some people are still sitting in jail for cannabis? And is it not true that it's kind of metaphorical of if someone came into my closet and took all my clothes and said it was bad for people and they needed to clean it up because it was dirty, and now all of a sudden they gave me back the sleeves, and now they're giving me back a pant leg. And I think we just need to recognize that that is how some people feel. And I've been following the legislation and commenting when I can in the past 6 years, but I'm not sure if we've taken the full grasp of power and responsibility about the opportunity to bring this plant back with more healing and less punishment, with more love and less fear, with more education and less miseducation, with gratitude and forgiveness, because I think what protects our children more than anything else is having the parents around. And if there's any opportunity to amend any cannabis law to create more social equity, I think we need to grab it and run with it, because we are healing from the cannabis prohibition. And I'm so grateful that you all are listening to these comments, because there's a lot of anger and there's a lot of feelings. And even if someone isn't being targeted, they might feel targeted. And if, there's a lot of talk about that in the federal legalization, in reparations and forgiving. Can we forgive people for using a joint so that we can bring the father back home to make sure that they're not eating THC gummies in addition to packaging it appropriately? And just to add, my brother works in the emergency room, pediatrics in New York, and he's seen a few cases. And I just want to remind you, yes, THC, it just makes them really high. I said, what do you use to remedy it? He goes, just time. But, it's just like alcohol. If they get a hold of it, they can fall down the stairs. They can hurt themselves. I know someone whose child was killed in a car accident because someone was irresponsible with a gummy. So yes, I really appreciate all of these controls and the measures, but I also think education protects our children just as much, if not more. It protects our consumers. It protects me. I'm a recovering sugar addict too. People send me products all the time. I'm tempted to eat the whole package too. I don't even think the twist tops are enough for me. I want the blister packages to stop me from popping one after another, right? Even though I typically just leave it in a drawer.
let me see. I just really appreciate you bringing up educating not only for our children to understand the history of what's going on, but also to educate people who want to get into this business. A lot of people don't have coaches or friends in the business, and they do have an economic disadvantage, and the education can help them. I'm wondering, if the Ag Commissioner can do an educational program, maybe the licenses that have the range, if 494, 1286 passes, then perhaps consider the economic equity when you're doing that sliding scale. That could be an option. And I think I've said, the last thing I want to say about advertising, I really think it's ironic that we advertise sugar to children to begin with. It's so toxic and so poisonous, and I just want to put that on the record that it is a little bit off balance, that we're okay with saying, silly rabbit tricks are for kids when it has so much sugar in it, it's going to cause diabetes eventually. And speaking of advertising, we need to be more pragmatic and look at the music industry and see how our children are influenced by that kind of advertising as well.
Well, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Your passion for hemp and all the benefits of it through the years. So thank you for coming here.
Thank
I've
you.
got one Representative Perkle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for your comments, but I do greatly disagree in comparing THC use with kids on alcohol or on sugar.
Okay.
There are significant findings of the long-term health impacts, mental health problems that we see with kids. Kids that eat fried chicken a lot later on, but we're looking at psychosis and long-term debilitating things. And THC use for kids is not the same as eating a lot of sugar or fried foods or if they get involved in alcohol. So
Thank you for your...
I don't think that was your intention, but I want to make sure that in this hearing, in this committee, when we're looking at this bill to protect kids, that we don't minimize the impact of THC on kids.
Thank you for your comment. And the difference is they might get into a package, unfortunately, because it's left laying around, which the parents need to know not to do that. But sugar is a daily thing often that children eat. And if you read the book Sugar Blues by William Duffy, it breaks down some studies where they actually link sugar to schizophrenia and other mental diseases as well. So it is just as important, I think.
Okay, thank you for those comments.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a couple of more we're going to try to get through fairly quickly. Angela Weston, would you stand right there to the mic, introduce yourself and who you, any organization that you might be representing. Thank you for being here this morning, addressing the committee.
Thank you. My name is Angela Weston, and I'm the co-founder of the Georgia Medical Cannabis Society. Pardon me, I'll repeat that. My name is Angela Weston, and I am currently the co-founder of the Georgia Medical Cannabis Society. And my reasoning for being here today is to just about also say that the amendments that the committee has received did come from our action team from our organization. And we are looking at some areas of this particular bill that we do not support, specifically looking at the packaging portion of it. Well, I do understand and am an advocate of making sure that children are safe and that the package is safe. Also understanding that, looking at it from the medication standpoint of it, that even a child-resistant cap on prescription drugs, children can get into those too. So not just looking at it from an industry standpoint and placing all of that placing all of that on the cannabis industry or the hemp industry and the packaging. Parental guidance is also needed with that. So there's a lot of education that needs to take place surrounding this and making sure that parents are responsible, guardians are responsible, adults are responsible to not keep those items in the reach of children so that they do not get them. So I do appreciate you taking the time to look at the amendments that we did send over and take those into consideration, because some of these marketing pieces that are in there, when we're talking about some of the novel shapes and things of that's in the section 1, line 17 through 20, we definitely do not want to make these packages attractive like a Skittles or a Now and Later or whatever it is, but we do want to allow that the manufacturers are able to use their creative abilities to market their products so it doesn't look like someone else's product, not taking away their creativity in that area to market, but also make sure that it is not appealing to children. So there's definitely different ways that you can go about doing that. So also, another piece of that we're talking about in there was the language surrounding the Delta-9 concentration and the decarboxylation. Just making sure that we understand what actually happens when it is decarbed and the THC that's actually in it. So making sure that process that you utilize for that they do not necessitate the conversion of the cannabinoids through the decarboxylation. So taking a look at that part of the amendment, we would appreciate if you could consider that as well. Another portion of that is in section 5, lines 133 through 136, and the consumable hemp product should be sold otherwise distributed in the state unless it's product and packaging container. Looking at those consumable products and making sure that it's packaged appropriately to ensure safety and compliance. We would like that language to be looked at as well, according to what we've actually sent in the amendment. And the last portion of it that we're looking at was section 9, line 187 through 188. In the original, in the constellation of the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, GBI was taken out, and we're asking that not be amended and allow the GBI to stay in there, and it should remain a part of the process to ensure the proper checks and balances. And finally, I do want to say that yes, I am an advocate of medical cannabis. I am a medical cannabis patient, and I've also spent a lot of time and money studying cannabis. I do have a master's in medical cannabis science and therapeutics, so this is really and very important to me in educating patients, educating providers, and helping the public to understand how cannabis is truly medicine and that it is much needed, and to also protect the CBD stores and the manufacturers who were out there who were helping us, specifically in the state of Georgia when we all had our medical cannabis cards and did not have a place to go. Those dispensaries, as we call them, because if you look at the definition of a dispensary, they were there to help us and protect us and give us the medication that we need prior to having those dispensaries, as well as they offer other cannabinoids, because cannabidiol and tetrahydrocannabinol, which is THC and CBD, are not the only cannabinoids that are out there. There's a CBG and the CBN, which I do use all of those as well. And so those particular entities provide those other cannabinoids that we need. So we do need the whole plant, and the dispensaries at this moment do not carry those, and some of those are actually missing. So I would like to make sure that it's understood that we are standing in the gap of those organizations as an organization to make sure that they are protected and are still there for us who are medical cannabis patients, as well as those who have conditions that are not on the list, but cannabis does help them. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those comments. Appreciate it. Chairman Corbett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My question, I guess, be to the author of the bill. Are we addressing medical cannabis in this bill, to your knowledge?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have one other speaker, Chris Brown. Is he here? There you go. If you can come back and address the committee.
Good morning, committee. As the previous speaker spoke, there are some issues that we do have with this bill, very most specifically that we're talking about packaging and the attractiveness to kids. The packaging, in terms of CBD, did we know that CBD actually reverses the effect of THC? So if a person had a psychotic episode, they could actually use CBD to reverse the psychotic effects of it. So are we really talking about CBD, or are we talking about the language of low THC or the THC program? We do have some concerns about some of the language that's also been inclusive in the low THC program, as we talk about line 149 and 159, as it talks about the limits of 1,000 feet from any educational institution, public or private. That language is also inclusive of the low THC program. And so, as the previous speaker spoke about, that these institutions have been in place prior to the establishment of the program here in Georgia, and has been a dispensary of more than just CBD. We have holistic practitioners that also petition in our communities for faith-based and religious purposes that also operate dispensaries of selling medicinal herbs. And so we have not taken that into consideration, not only in the low THC program, but neither in the CBD or in this legislation. The restrictions on advertisement, I do agree that it can become attractive for kids to consume these products, as many other attractive designs and bags and packaging. But as testimony gave from other members in this building, they could identify what was in the packaging by the label of its contents, which talked about the 3,000 milligrams and the various other dosing amounts that was in the packaging. So I think there's a greater need for education. In 2019, I wrote a letter to the Senate addressing these concerns about this green leafy substance that both look like the same. They smell the same because they contain terpenes. When you burn them, they smell the same. They could smell the same as well. So being able to identify these products in this legislation does not address a number of things that we have concerning low THC and the CBD. We can have a comprehensive program where we do more research and development as identified in the 2018 Farm Bill, and Georgia actually being a leader in this space by identifying revenue opportunities as well as expanding our medicinal values, and as well as infuse education opportunities by increasing enrollment in our educational institutions, as other institutions have done across the country. So as we go through this bill, again, that there are some concerns that does align with low THC oil. I do think that there are some conditions that for low THC, hemp is low THC by definition. You know what I mean? Because it has a restriction of the amount federally prohibits it from going over 0.3%. Are we really talking about the kids? I think we used the kids in the beginning to get the low THC program into play. So I don't want us to misuse or mischaracterize what's going on in Georgia with our program, but we have an innovative opportunity to involve the community and these stakeholders who have not been a part of the process. We have not identified the impact in which these bills would impact not only business owners, but the consumers. So I think that as we work with the Agriculture Department, there's a grand opportunity as we look through this legislation. I just want to yield and say thank you for just even considering these bills and addressing some of the issues. But the biggest piece is education and partnering with our communities and in investments in the program. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for those comments. Those are all the speakers from the audience that have signed up to speak to the bill. I just want to say again, I really appreciate Commissioner's personal involvement with these bills coming, and his attention in his department. Catherine Russell has spent a lot of time, as well as he pointed out, on these, working with our authors of the bill, legislature, and I think we'll have, if these bills get through and made into law, I think we'll have a great program going forward to finally address the things that we need to be looking at. So thank you, Commissioner, for that. Any other questions or comments from the committee? Hearing none, it's posture to take a motion. I got a motion to do pass. Second. Any other comments? I ask the committee, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, unanimous. Thank you very much. LC 550240, HB 1322. On the rules.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Chairman.
you very much.
Appreciate it.
I know some of you might have somewhere else to go. Representative Meeks has got a House resolution. I thought you could do it from there if you want to get in front of the committee. We've got several other resolutions that we'll hear after crossover. And so just wanted to get this on your radar this morning. Chairman Meeks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. House Resolution 1166 creates a study committee to take a look at warehouse bonding and surety bonds of warehouses across our state. Many of you who are involved in agriculture on a day-to-day basis, particularly in the fruit and vegetable world, warehouses and brokers are bonded. The department has seen an uptick in the number of bonds that are called, and frequently the value of the bond does not cover the cost of the goods cost that is owed to the growers. It's a complicated issue, but it's one that we need to start the conversation on, Mr. Chairman, and take a look at how can we work to resolve the issues and better protect the growers in our state. So it creates a study committee to take a look at the issue, and I'll yield to the commissioner if he has any comments regarding the study committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank Representative Meeks for carrying this study committee. I think this is a very important for us to take a deep dive in as members of the legislature working with our department over the off season. As Representative Meeks and Chairman Meeks mentioned, we at the department have been seeing an uptick of calls on the bonds, and in some cases 3 and 4 times what the bond is worth is what has been called. So in other words, a $300,000 bond, and we have an outlay of over $1 million in what's owed to the farmer. And so when you have that problem, that means that they're never going to be made whole. And so we can use this opportunity to look at what other states have done, and there's some pretty innovative things that other states have done to address this for agriculture in their state, fruit and vegetables, grain, etc. But it's definitely we've seen an issue. We definitely think we need to look at our bonding laws and our warehouse laws and ensure that we're doing everything we can to allow our ag businesses to be successful and thrive, but also protect our farmers and producers at the same time. So I think the study committee will give us an opportunity to do that, and I would urge your favorable consideration to the committee and to you, Mr. Chairman. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think we yeah, good bill. We'll talk about it again after our next committee meeting, which should be a week from today. I think after crossover, and we've got that, a couple other issues. I'll also put on your radar, if any of you, we need an ex officio appointed to Commodity Commission overall. Could you?
Yes, sir. The Ag Commodity Commission ex officio committee, which is made up of myself, President Tom McCall, the President of Georgia Farm Bureau, and then 2 appointees, one by the House Ag Committee, one by the Senate Ag Committee. And I know we can circle up on that, but we definitely need to get that done before session's over with, Mr. Chairman, for the House Ag Committee's appointment to that particular ex officio committee.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
someone that has some experience serving on a commodity commission, very helpful on that, keeping those commodity commissions running smoothly as they should. So thank you for your work supporting those. And we'll take that up at a later meeting. Anything else to come for the committee this morning? That's all I've got on my agenda. Representative Thomas.
Thank you, Chairman. I just wanted to make sure you got my abstain vote on 1322.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chairman Meeks.
I just wanted to remind everybody of the state biscuits, Georgia Cattleman breakfast tomorrow.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, tomorrow morning.
Yep.
Also let Grace know your attendance at the Peanut Commission dinner next Monday, I think. Next Monday, so but we need to know. Very nice dinner. Hope you can all attend that. So,
Mr. Chairman,
yeah,
if I
one
may,
more.
on that point by Chairman Meeks, if you got a hat from us last year at the Ag Department, I want to encourage you to wear it tomorrow for Cattleman's Day. I think it would look very appropriate for everybody that got them a cowboy hat last year to grace the Capitol with it tomorrow. So I think that would be an appropriate
And maybe
day
the
to do
boots
that.
too would be
And
very
if you wear
appropriate.
boots with your suits,
Yeah,
I think it
it'd
works. Yes,
be-
sir.
I think those boots might be some deep stuff tomorrow. They need to.
We'll have to work on that. I'm sorry.
All right, meeting adjourned. Thank y'all.